the Trawl. We dredged something up from deep underwater. It turned out to still be alive, partly alive, something like alive. I wanted to explain how it looked, but every time I thought about how to describe it, I got the worst mental block. Everything went foggy and my head started to hurt. Even when I remembered how it spilled out onto our deck with thousands of dead fish, I was overcome with a sensation of nausea that left me gasping for air. That's why once it stopped thrashing, yes, that's how it moved, by thrashing. I remember how it knocked over a bunch of equipment. I asked one of the guys to start taking pictures. Not a single one came out right. They were all blurred beyond repair and dotted with multicoloured splotches. So all I have is my memory. While I couldn't picture how it looked, I knew it was nothing like I'd ever seen before. Nothing like any of us had seen. All this happened last week. The creature is gone. From the best we can remember, it hurled itself back over the side of the boat. None of us are certain of that, mind you. It's just the best explanation we can come up with together. All 5 of us have started getting sick after that day. I told everyone it's just the flu, and that we're in close proximity all day, every day, in the cold and rain and wind. If anyone's going to get sick, it would be us. But deep down, I didn't think that was the case. My teeth had started to loosen. There was blood in the sink when I brushed them. We went about our business and hauled up our catches, brought them to shore and went back out. Grey waves met the grey sky on the horizon, and my ears had grown numb from the endless white noise of the sea. 2 days ago, Vernon jumped overboard. The 4 of us were working at the stern, and Vern was at the bow. We never saw him go in, and he never came back up. Under any other circumstances, we would have radioed the Coast Guard. We would have been devastated by the loss of our colleague and friend, but a mood unlike any I've experienced had come over us. We had to go ahead, forward into the cold North Atlantic. At night, my dreams were vivid, yet abstract. Colours with shapes and curves, but no edges, no lines. All the while, a voice was singing to me, cooing, crooning. Yesterday, Amal and Billy held hands and jumped off the port side of the boat. Gervaso and I watched them go. We didn't say a word to one another. We just went back to our respective areas of the vessel. We travelled a good couple 100 miles further out to sea that day. Last night, as I slept, I poked my tongue around the new holes in my gums where my teeth had fallen out. I pressed against the loose ones, and a few fell back against my throat. I remember the feeling as I swallowed them. My dreams were full of song and colour. Opening my eyes to the grey morning made me want to go back to sleep. Gervaso embraced me after breakfast and stood at the bow of the ship. He made 3 deep slits on each side of his neck, then toppled into the water. The last thing he said before he cut himself was, "I'm going to hear them sing." Today, by mid-morning, all my teeth had fallen out. I looked at my new smile in the mirror. It was inhuman, benthic, like the mouth of a strange pink fish. With the boat on autopilot, I stumbled to my bed and began a nap. It was short, but full of the song and colour I'd hoped for. There, swimming inside the fountain of shimmering iridescence, was the creature we'd seen. I still can't describe it, but my feeling of discomfort while trying to recall it is gone. All gone, in fact. The thought of it carries a beacon of welcome and hope. Ever since opening my eyes after the nap, I can still hear the singing. It's coming from far below the boat, miles and miles beneath the icy ocean. As I look out and see the grey all around me, I feel starved for colour. As I reach out and feel the icy wind buffeting me, I feel deprived of warmth. I know what I have to do. I know where I have to go. At the bottom of all this water, I can find what is serenading me. All I have to do is jump. Thank you all for watching. That was The Trawl, a post that I found on our NoSleep by the user IIA. As always, there will be a link to the full story and anything else he has posted in the description below. Now, as always, we come to the analysis part of this reading. I get the feeling that maybe English isn't this guy's first language, notably by the names of some of the characters, supporting characters I suppose you'd say, in the story. But in a way, I think that adds to the gloomy realism he's tried to add in this story, with the grey skies and the days blending into one another. Perhaps if I could do some kind of Scandinavian accent, I would have done that while reading, but nobody wants to hear that. I also think he captures the bleakness of being a fisherman, really. Think about it as a job, you spend ages out at sea. I remember phrases like the white noise of the ocean, and I imagine if you're out there sometimes for weeks, it could get quite monotonous and dreary. So I have to give him points for achieving that in a relatively short story. Now let's get to the creature itself. Now, I'm sure if you've listened to a lot of my narrations and analyses, you're aware that I like vagueness in my monsters, and this thing, it's almost as though it emits some kind of mental block that stops people from being able to recall what it looks like exactly, and this even applies to photographs, which you would commonly consider physical evidence. It seems to blur and distort the image so that you can't really see what's going on. And maybe this is me, but I feel like that's a clever nod to the fact that most Loch Ness Monster and other sea creature sightings tend to be filmed on a potato cam. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but if he did intend that, bravo, that's very clever. As we progress through the story, the nature and intentions of this creature are slowly revealed to us, and one by one, the sailors are lured into the ocean by some kind of mysterious song that they experience, presumably while they're asleep. Any mythology fans out there will instantly pick up on that as a trait of the siren. In mythology, sirens are said to lure sailors to their death with their beautiful song and beautiful female appearance. Now, he's taken an interesting twist on this. It's actually unclear as to what the gender of this creature is, if it's even humanoid at all. However, we later find out that instead of using the beauty of a female form, it uses beautiful colours and shapes that are just naturally pleasing to the eye, especially for a sailor who's been staring at grey oceans for days. So for me, this is where the story gets a little more interesting. Clearly this is not a conventional siren, but perhaps it is something that has inspired the siren. Because he's left the true appearance and identity of this creature vague, especially its motives, all we know is sailors just start jumping in the ocean after coming into contact with it. We end up with something that leaves you wondering, and I personally am leaning towards perhaps something alien. Now, bear with me. Of course, it could be demonic, but I don't really get those vibes from it. This thing is able to influence the minds of the sailors, and it's also able to manipulate light, as we've seen with the photographic evidence being distorted. This is obviously technology years beyond anything we're capable of. Of course, the alternative is that it's some kind of demon. If this was intended to be a demonic entity, wouldn't you have thought it would take the form of the attractive female, because aren't demons all about encouraging sin and things like that? I don't think it would take on these bizarre abstract shapes. I think the idea that they can't really describe what it is and they can't describe these weird colours and shapes in their head is indicative of something beyond our planet, and by extension beyond comprehension. That's what I got from it, at least. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How did you interpret this short but strange story? I'm going to give it a very robust 4 out of 5. Make sure to leave your rating in the poll I have provided above. Like the video if you did, share it with a friend, and of course if you haven't already, subscribe for more creepy content.